Hello, everybody. My name is Phil, and I'm your host for the In the Mixer podcast today. And oh boy, do we have some football to talk about. A lot of games have been played since we last spoke to you, 6 in fact, and I'm going to break it down with Michael and Elias.
Hello.
Yeah.
Smooth. We thought as you don't know much about us, we might tell you a little bit about ourselves, and we thought today it might be a good idea to tell you something about our footballing careers, quote unquote. So sit back for some serious self-indulgence as we tell you our greatest ever goals we've scored. So I think Elias will start because Sweden.
So when I played football, I used to play as a left midfielder or left winger or a striker, and I was the main free kick and penalty taker. And there's one goal I particularly remember, which I scored when I was 11 years old, I think. It was actually a penalty. The ball got stuck in the top corner, and I was so proud of myself when I scored that penalty. So, I mean, it's probably not the nicest goal I scored, it's just the one I remember the most.
Yeah, the most memorable.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense, though. To stick it right in the top corner so it gets stuck.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I was pretty proud of
That's
myself.
pretty good. What about yours, Michael?
Well, given that I spent the majority of my Sunday League career as a goalkeeper and still play as a goalkeeper now, I'll have to talk about a save. And at the time, it wasn't one that I particularly stuck out to me. I was only told about it afterwards as to how good it was, and it kind of struck me. So, I played in a team that was obviously like Sunday League football is mainly based on the area that you're from, and so I played for a team that was in an old mining village. So there was a lot of it wasn't a very good team, we'll put it that way. So being the goalkeeper, I was often bombarded with shots, and I became quite a good shot stopper, and that was like my main attribute. So I'm quite good at five-a-side because I'm not particularly good at like commanding my penalty area, things like that. I'm just good at shot stopping. But besides that, they were carrying that, just a little bit of self-indulgence just to start that off. The opposition were carrying the ball down the right hand side, and it was a counter attack. So we only I think it was 2-on-2, and they were carrying it right out on the right wing, and he crossed the ball in, and I was fully expecting it to sort of go back post or onto the head of the striker or whoever was coming towards me in the box. So I was almost positioned ready to receive a header rather than a cross, and. He mishit it. He I'm trying to think. Sliced it, but it still was struck really sweetly, and then it ended up pretty much going top right corner of the goal. So almost looped right across. I don't know whether there was wind to play. I can't remember what, but I then just natural reaction, and I wasn't a particularly agile. I was quite a fat kid at this time. Well, not fat kid, but I wasn't particularly agile, and I made the most agile save I've ever made, and in the top left, it's the top right-hand corner of the goal. I then tipped this ball onto the crossbar and it went over. And I thought it was just sort of a good reaction save to be able to change my momentum to go one way and the other. And it was only until afterwards that my manager said that I was almost just like 1 foot below the crossbar and completely flat in the air when I made the save, because my momentum of my body still went the way that I was expecting the ball to go, but I managed to throw my my upper half of my body towards the ball and tip it onto the bar. So just the way that I remember it, the only reason it sticks out to me is just because I was told that I was completely flat in the air, and yet I wasn't an agile person. I don't even remember landing that hard either, so it must have been really impressive. And I'm pretty sure their striker said to me "good save" at the time, which is pretty unusual in the Doncaster Sunday League, as with some of the memories I have from that. So that's probably my greatest career moment.
Yeah, if you want to read more of Joe Hodson his book, you can buy it on Amazon.
Other book retailers are available, of course. We're not in any way associated with Amazon. Well, I suppose we'll move on to mine now, which will obviously be the sickest of the bunch.
Oh, right.
My favourite goal I've ever scored was actually when I was at school, playing for the school team. And basically what happened is, I don't really know how I ended up in the position, but I ended up with my back to goal on the right side of the penalty area. So the goal's on my right side with the back to goal. For some reason, I've started turning towards the goal with my body while the ball's coming towards me, and in the same motion, I flicked it up. You know, like you flick it up for start keeping up, so the ball's rolling towards you. I sort of flick it up like that, and in one movement, stick it on my foot and sort of lob the goalkeeper, like proper scoop it over the goalkeeper, and he was running out at me. I didn't even see him. I just did it all in one motion, just instinctively. It was the best goal I've ever scored. I think the most one I can compare it to is Raul's against Colne in 2011, I think it was. But yeah, that was the best goal I've ever scored. And yeah, it was such a shame it was fucking offside. But yeah, so that I'm still bitter to that to this day.
You haven't mentioned that it was offside before.
No, because I wanted to. Oh, I'm never that.
Some people say he's still depressed.
So
I'm still depressed that day. Stop playing football
so
after
it's
that.
not the greatest goal
Right.
you've ever. Okay.
The greatest goal I've ever scored didn't count. Yeah,
Okay. That's a wonderful.
mad.
That's a wonderful. way
Right,
to
I
end
think
that
we'll move on. Speaking of great goals,
Oh, here we go.
Luka Modric against Turkey.
Smooth.
Phenomenal volley. He didn't quite hit it as well as perhaps some other volleys, but that was in the air for the long time, and it is a great goal no matter what you think of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, the speed that the ball is dropping is there's so much timing and just finesse in doing that. It's such a hard move to pull off, and he just did it pretty much perfectly. It's impressive to see.
Yeah, the way
How high his leg gets as well.
The way the ball's dropped out the air, he literally has to hit it on a perfect spot on his boot, because anywhere else it's going to go over, trickle along the floor, or just be skewed left or right. So it was a perfect strike. And like I said, the way that the ball dipped as well. And a lot of people criticise the goalkeeper, and I think it is a bit of a goalkeeper mistake, but it's also really hard to judge because it looks like it's just a solid volley, and then it suddenly drops out the air to go under him.
He doesn't expect that shot to come in, does
No,
he?
exactly. I don't think he's,
who
he's not in a
does
position
there?
to.
I'm
the
not
dip
sure
of the
if
ball.
he even sees Modric coming, because he comes from behind like two players. I think it's one Croatian player and one Turkey player, and just runs forwards and just strikes that ball. And impressive as I say.
He's probably setting himself in his mind, I think, for a header to come back into the box or be headed away to sort of create problems. Maybe a Croatian player just heads it back into the box. He's going to think he'll come in and claim it, I think. But it's just completely out of nowhere. He just runs in like a lunatic and gets his leg, and he just catches it, and it's a great goal.
Yeah.
Fantastic goal. Goal of the Euro so far, would you think?
It's up there. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Definitely up there. I thought he had a solid game. A solid game in total. I think he was everywhere, box to box. I thought he rarely gave the ball away, Modric, and he's continuing to be my favourite midfielder in the modern game of football. I don't know if you guys agree with that one, but what was your guys' opinions of this Turkey-Croatia game as a whole? Obviously, a great goal separating the two sides.
I'd say it was a really dull game, and I think people will agree with me because, Turkey didn't look like they were going to create anything. They really either looked very lazy or very tired. I can't decide on which. And my personal opinion is that Rakitic and Perisic were the best players on the pitch, with Modric coming close, maybe second or third. Because Rakitic just controlled that midfield and just didn't let Turkey do anything. And when they did, he was just there to grab the ball off them. And also Perisic got in some really good positions and really showed what he can do. Just, of course, didn't score, missed a few chances, but he really showed like his fighting spirit and really got into those good positions. And I was also impressed by Sana down the right wing, who came really close to getting assists with Berisic's header, that front post, and he just seemed to be ready for a cross at all times. And what is he, 33 now? Sana?
I don't know, he's old.
Yeah, he is
32,
old.
33.
He's been around a long time in
Yeah,
that Croatia team.
I think that's impressive, being such an attacking fullback at that age.
Yeah, I think it was. I almost want to say it was edging towards being probably the most one-sided game of the Euros so far, and that Turkey really didn't look like they had anything to do. And I mean, we've talked about a lot of games where it's been one-sided, but the other team still defended valiantly. Turkey didn't particularly do that either. So yeah, and Croatia could have scored a lot more. I think they hit the post and the bar
Twice, I think they hit the bar twice.
Yeah, so they could have had a lot more from, and probably should have had a lot more from the game. But they did look really impressive, like you highlighted Cerner. I thought he was really good as well, and Modric and Rakitic were instrumental. It's a good word.
I was really disappointed by Kalinoglu and Turan. I thought they had very little impact.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think Turan's coming back from injury, so he may not have been 100% fit. Kalinoglu's obviously still quite a young player, I think, so perhaps the stage is intimidating him. Possibly, I don't really know. But
I think Kalinoglu was being played in a position he's not particularly familiar with playing with his club. I can't remember. I remember just rethinking this at the time. I'm not sure if he was being played out on the left, was he, or something like that? Possibly, but I remember thinking at the time that he isn't playing a position that he particularly plays in the Bundesliga, so that's probably why he struggled. But the whole Turkish team struggled. It wasn't just... even if he was in his position, I still don't think it would have had much of an impact.
Yeah, I was definitely disappointed with Kalinoglu because he gave away so many easy passes. Like even though you're playing in a position that you necessarily don't like, or you should be hitting those easy passes, and it looked like he tried too hard, pretty much.
I think the defense of Croatia was brilliant. I thought Vida and Chorluka at the back were extremely solid. And Chorluka's leaking brain was a bit interesting. He was bleeding profusely through that entire game. Didn't come off though. Didn't come off. I thought he played very well. And I think when a player's bleeding like that, you can't help but notice the defensive efforts. Great.
Even though
bleeding heads, we don't see enough of them in football.
No. And even though Turkey had a lot of negatives and they didn't play particularly well, I think that when Yilmaz came on, they got some kind of box presence, and also the substitution when Emre Mor came in, he showed what he can do. He was quick on the ball, and he showed he wanted to do something and didn't look either tired or lazy. He just wanted to do something for his country, and I admire that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Yilmaz's point. I think it was almost just someone that could hold up the ball a little bit more and bring other players into play. I think he got a couple of free kicks as well, and it was just, even though he didn't particularly cause any problems in the box as a goal threat, there was still some sort of presence there which Turkey lacked for the first 65 minutes.
Yeah, right. So from 1-1-0, I think we'll move to another, and that's Poland-Northern Ireland. Did either of you catch this game?
Oh yes, I did.
Yeah. I thought personally there were a lot of obviously apart from the result, I thought there was a lot of similarities between Poland's performance and England's performance.
I'm gonna disagree with one point Michael made about the last game. He said that was the most one-sided game. I think this one was Northern Ireland. They pretty much they parked the bus to a new level. They probably had 10 people behind the ball at probably 80 minutes, and when they got a few attacks, they didn't really do anything with them. They didn't get that far. But I necessarily didn't think Poland played that well. I think they were kind of lacking in the final pass in creativity, but of course they got out with a win anyways.
I think the Northern Ireland came with an idea, came with a tactic to defend and catch teams on the break. Pretty much what they did for the entire qualifying. What we said in the pre-show, they'd come and they'd be strong. And Lewandowski, he didn't touch the ball inside. I don't think he touched the ball inside the box.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't have one shot on goal.
He was coming wide and dropping deep to get the ball, which is why I see the similarities between his performance and Harry Kane's performance for England and Poland. I think they're very similar. Obviously, Poland got the win because I think that goal, the time that goal came, I think it was very crucial because if they'd gone longer, they might have a little frustration may have seeped in. And Northern Ireland did have chances as well. That Stephen Davis chance where he was slipped through from a quite a clever free kick and just couldn't quite get to the ball. I think on another day perhaps Northern Ireland may have got something from this game, but they've got that tactic. They're going to do that. And when it comes to the Ukraine game, I think Ukraine will be a lot more open than Poland, and I think they'll probably have more chances. But I think the fact that they didn't get a point from such a hard-working display against that Polish team is going to be a real downer for that Northern Ireland squad.
Can we talk about Kyle Lafferty's flick bicycle kick?
I mean, that was phenomenal.
I was
attempt, yeah. It was.
You've got to love it. You've got to love his balls to attempt that.
Yeah, but
how many times did he touch that up? At least 3 or 4.
3, yeah.
But yeah, I agree with Phil in that they obviously came with the agenda of defending and looking to hit teams on the break as they did through the qualifiers. That's why I don't think this game was particularly one-sided, because that's how Northern Ireland wanted the game to play out. And I think they did a good... I think Johnny Evans, I can particularly pick out, did a really good job dealing with Lewandowski. But they didn't do so well with Milik, because I thought Milik had a really good game, and Blaszczykowski as well. and probably should have scored more. Like you said, in comparison to the England game, you could probably relate it back to that. Milik and Blaszczykowski linked up so well, but didn't quite get any more out of the game. But Northern Ireland, they did defend well, but they
defended very well.
Yeah, I think their midfield and their set pieces, apart from that clever set piece to get Stephen Davison, I think they need to definitely improve on that if they're gonna make any sort of mark on the Euros. Because was it Oliver Norwood that takes their free kicks? The Reading. Yeah, I don't think he particularly threatened anything from his set pieces. So I think if they're gonna make a mark on this group, I think they're gonna have to take advantage of those set pieces a bit more, especially when they're not going to get particularly many chances.
I think they were happy to just allow crosses to come in from Poland trying to look for Lewandowski because they kept winning everything. And I think against teams like Ukraine especially, who obviously have Konoplyanka and Yarmolenko coming down the wings, if they're just going to run down those wings and try and keep crossing the ball, and Northern Ireland got soaked up all day, and that's why I think the Ukraine game could be interesting. Northern Ireland may look to get something from that game. And Ukraine, although they did take us a bit by surprise in that Germany game, didn't they? They did play quite well, I think, against Germany. We'll move on to that one. Final score in this one, 2-0.
Yep.
What did you guys think of the Germany's performance?
Well, it was the first win by more than one goal in this tournament.
Yeah.
Quite far in, I think. And I think a really good positive for Ukraine was their attacking play. Like, they looked really dangerous when they got towards Germany's box. But unfortunately for them, Jerome Boateng and Neuer had great games.
Yeah.
And even though I have a few friends that say that Neuer mispositioned himself for his great saves, I think to recover from those mispositions is just as impressive as making a save like that.
I don't think it's particularly mispositioning either when we talk about Neuer, because he's such an aggressive goalkeeper that to him it isn't a misposition because he knows his ability to make those saves. I mean, I think there was one mix-up where I can't remember who it was. It might have been Boateng headed the ball.
Mustafi.
Was it Mustafi?
Yeah.
But it's Neuer's style to be able to make tremendous saves. So I don't think you can even talk about it really as a misposition, like you said. Neuer and Boateng's clearance, they were both. And I think that's why I said Germany could just do so well in this tournament, because they just do have players like that can do something special, especially when we've seen some goalkeeping performances been particularly questionable in this tournament.
I really like Mustafi, although his obvious attempted own goal was interesting, but he did score the first goal, didn't he? The bullet header.
That was such a good header.
It was a great goal, but I actually disagree with Boateng having a great game. I thought they were all quite shaky, the defenders. I think Boateng at times looks clumsy. Although, all right, he made up for it, but arguably he shouldn't have been able to make up for that own goal.
Sorry.
I mean, I think he gets himself into positions that arguably he shouldn't be in. I don't know. I think he's a little bit clumsy personally, and I think when Hummels is in there, he might be a different player, and a better player. But I think that German defense definitely looks suspect in that Ukrainian game. And Ukraine really, really should have scored at least one goal in this match.
I've written here that Germany's first half was really shaky. They didn't look as confident at the back as I thought they would be. And what made them start to control the game in the second half was that Ukraine got so tired after defending against Germany, and they also it brought the Ukrainian defense to make a few mistakes that let the attacking players through, and Germany just looked like scoring a few more than two. And three things that I was really impressed by Germany was Kroos.
Yeah, I thought Kroos was incredible.
The best player on the pitch, phenomenal. Definitely.
Yeah.
Germany's amazing high pressure defending, who, if you watch the game, they were up in Ukraine's box and pressured the goalkeeper and centre backs, and the amazing clearance by Boateng. That was ridiculous.
I think And when I referred to Boateng's performance, I think you can almost disregard everything for that clearance, because that'll be one of like do you see the highlight videos of the Euros and things like that? That'll definitely be in it because it was so good. But
yeah, I mean, I think he's just a bit in an odd position. I think he should be more square to the cross. It's sort of facing the goal when it hits him, and he recovered well. He stopped it going in. And at the time, I thought, I don't know what you got. I was so sure it was in. I was up on the sofa screaming, but no, it was definitely a moment. One of the moments of the championships, like you say. I thought Goetze up front just disappeared. I didn't think he did. The invisible man. Really.
Yeah,
he doesn't suit that position at all, in my opinion.
He's played it for Bayern Munich. When he's managed to make it into the Bayern Munich team, he's sometimes played in that role. But he, like you said, he wasn't in the game at all. And I think the greatest thing he did in the game, like I said, they were pressuring Ukraine right up in their own box. Goetze worked hard to press, but didn't do anything. And I don't think that was even a lack of service. I didn't think Muller had an incredible game, but I thought Ozil and Draxler were still pretty good, and Toni Kroos was still like spraying balls around the pitch incredibly. So it wasn't the fact that Goetze wasn't getting anything. He just didn't have an impact. He just didn't suit that false nine.
Yeah, I thought Draxler played well as well as another mention. But I think one of the biggest stories of this game as well is that Schweinsteiger coming on.
Yeah.
Oh, those Germans love him, don't they?
His run for that goal is ridiculous as well. Like
he's out for the rest of the championships.
He really wanted that, didn't he?
He couldn't even walk the day after. Like, that
great ball by Ozil.
Yeah, it was a great ball, a great assist, and a great finish. Just shows you how good he really was when he was at his top.
Yeah, but they didn't miss him in the game. I don't think.
No, they definitely didn't.
I thought Sami Khedira and Toni Kroos played their defensive midfielding roles really well.
Khedira played a different role than I thought he would do. He really played as a box-to-box midfielder and got a few chances and probably should have scored one of them. But yeah, he impressed me. Khedira and Kroos, of course.
Yeah, they worked so well together, which I was really surprised at.
It's almost like they don't need a holding midfielder, like you say, Elias, because of the pressing they do, and the fact that they keep so much. They have the possession so often. It's almost like they don't need a holding midfielder because they're not. If they're defending, it's usually on a counter attack anyway. So it's almost like they don't actually need that position filled, if that makes sense. And obviously Khedira can do that position if he needs to. But I think it'll be interesting to see how his performances develop as the competition goes on and the opposition gets better. If he does start to play more of a defensive role, or if him or Kroos is taken out the team for a more defensive player. Did either of you guys catch? Is it Löw? Is that how you pronounce it? Did you catch the old, the sneaky?
I watched a clip of that with Italian commentator. It was probably the best thing I've ever seen and heard.
Oh my goodness! Was that the one where they were just screaming?
Yeah, that was.
Oh no! Oh dear!
It's a bit strange.
It was definitely strange.
But if they win the Euros, no one will care, so it doesn't matter. He'll get away with it. Yeah. We'll move on to Spain, Czech Republic next. Be honest, didn't see the first half of this game. I was editing the last podcast, so I didn't actually see the first half. Second half, though, it looked like, from what I heard, it was exactly the same as the first half, just Spain domination all the way through this game.
Corners. That's what I want to say. Like, Jesus. Spain had 14 corners that game, and that's just a ridiculous number. And, I don't know, like, Nolito, he was trying to create, he tried too hard and really didn't get through, and I was a bit disappointed with his performance. Andres Iniesta, though, what a player he is, and what an assist he got for the goal by PK. He just looked like, well, he played pretty much all the attacking ball through, and he was just the one who looked like he could, open up the game and get that scoring opportunity, which he did. And Morata disappointed me quite a bit as well with his finishing.
Yeah. I think you say about the corners, it's interesting that when Piqué scored, it was from open play, and like you say, it was that Iniesta who got the assist. Lovely little weighted ball in behind there. It was phenomenal. And if Piqué hadn't scored, Aduriz was right behind him, ready to sap it in.
Aduriz, who came on for Morata, looked really hungry to get something for his country.
He was a presence, wasn't he?
He
made
definitely
a difference.
was
He
a
caused those
presence.
defenders issues.
And he's just a different player than Morata, and I think Spain benefited of having him up front because he just looked more hungry, and he just looked more suited for the game and the game plan that Spain had. With the strikers being talked about, Czech goalkeeper of Czech Republic, he looked really solid as always, and really denied Spain of scoring. Morata having the most open chance when he was just in front of him, and Czech made a reaction save, who Morata probably should have put in, but hit him straight in the stomach. And I was also a bit surprised by Rosicka's performance. I thought he was really decent, and he ran a lot for being 35 years old. His work rate was ridiculous, and he played the full 90 minutes as well, which was impressive, I think.
Well, he's one of those players who obviously he plays for his international team, and that's almost his pride now. That's almost where he gets his regular football. They did have a chance, Czech Republic, right at the end, didn't they? It was Derrida, I think, and he produced a very good save from De Gea.
Yeah.
Spain, not convincing. Convincing? What would you say? The domination obviously was there for all to see. Was this a convincing display by the holders?
I think,
possession-wise, definitely.
I'm going to refer back to the old podcast, or not the old podcast, a previous episode in where I broke down Czech Republic and said that, well, they concede a lot of goals, but they do have Petr Cech, and they don't particularly much going forward. And I think that Czech Republic turned up exactly how I expected them to. Petr Cech was... Well, I got a little stat. Petr Cech played the most passes of any Czech Republic player with 36, and Iniesta made more passes in an opposition half than any other player has made at the Euros so far. So with 77, so it just showed that I think Spain were good. I do think they were dominant on the ball, but it's Czech Republic, and I don't know whether we can really base it off Spain's performance off against that team. 72% possession Spain had.
Well, we don't particularly rate this Czech Republic side, any of us, I don't think. We all said they'd finish bottom of the group, but they did win their group, so obviously they are a hard team to beat. But Spain did get the job done and start successfully the defence of their Euro title. So the next game then, I think we know who's going to take charge of this analysis.
No.
Ireland-Sweden, 1-1. Good point, bad point, Elias? What do you think?
A horrible point. It was one of the worst games I've ever seen from the Swedish national side. And I was sitting with 8 of my mates. That's a great rhyme there. Watching the game, and we were just so frustrated. Because the optimism I had going into this tournament, with the squad we have, with how we have played, and they just bring us that. A Route 1 football, where none of the midfielders can get a pass forwards to Zlatan. They just missed every single forward pass. Kim Källström, probably the worst centre mid that we have right now. Oskar Lewicki.
Is his back still broken from his time at Arsenal?
Oh my god. It's like, all the optimism is gone, and I just, want us to go home and not embarrass ourselves anymore.
Oh. Yeah, no shots on target.
It's just ridiculous.
You had to rely on an own goal to obviously score, and
I feel for Aaron. I feel for Aaron.
To be fair, I thought you were playing quite well in the first half. I think the Lustig injury, when you had to re-evaluate the defence and shake it around. I think who was it who went to the right back?
Yeah,
it was the Benfica kid. Yeah. And the centre back pairing you thought would start Johansson and Grankvist. I mean, it wasn't convincing.
Johansson is such a bad centre back, I think, personally. One defender that had a great game, I think, was Martin Olsen. He
played very well.
He really looked like if we were going to get any more goals of that game, he was the one to create them. And the crosses he put in were probably the best I've seen all this tournament. And I know you have criticised the crossing thus far.
Yeah, the crossing has been poor in my opinion.
But also when Victor Nilsson Lindelöf went off to the right back, went off to right back position, he looked like he wanted to do something. He looked like he wanted to prove a point, and I admire that. Since he was not a guaranteed starter at all for this game, and he just came in and bossed it, I think.
Yeah, him against Seamus Coleman down that Swedish left-hand side. There's only one winner there, really. I mean, Ibrahimovic kept having to come deep to get the ball. Marcus Berg was quiet. I thought John Guidetti added a little more, but obviously not enough. And I think the Wes Hoolahan finish was probably the talking point. I don't know if this was... Yeah, well, it was a great finish, but I don't know whether this was harsh. I don't know how he had so much space there.
Swedish defenders. But yeah, I think not only the goal should be the talking point, it's just his whole performance, Wes Hoolahan. He was ridiculous. Like, how he can be such a good player for Ireland and then just go back to Norwich, and I don't know.
Yeah, so many players step up for their national team. We talk about Carl Lafferty for Northern Ireland, Wes Hoolahan on this occasion here as well. So many players, you almost have to discount who they play for and where they play, because for their international teams, they can often turn out to be something else.
Do you think that's because they're the feature piece of the team almost? Well, not a feature piece necessarily, but they can shine a lot more.
I think it's all to do with confidence. He's put into the team. Martin O'Neill obviously said, right, you're our attacking midfielder. And I wasn't surprised when I said in the pre-show, I wasn't surprised of how attacking they did line up, because obviously Jeff Hendrick is an attacking thinking player, attacking minded more than his defensive work. Hoolahan obviously goes forward, Long and Walters. The Glenn Whelan and McCarthy aren't particularly holding midfielders, they're more playmaker types. Well, not particularly Glenn Whelan, but yeah, I thought they would absolutely capitulate in this competition, and that point was a lot more than I thought they'd get. And I'm actually wary for this group now, because we'll move on to Belgium, Italy in a minute, but this group is wide open.
Yeah,
now.
Like I said, we'll get on to that result, but the Belgium-Italy game, but that really does throw the group off. And if Ireland can put in a similar performance against Belgium, could they could easily get another point.
Well, let's move on to Belgium-Italy then, because I think Elias is grinding his teeth.
Yeah. I'll just quickly ask Elias, what is the because we talk about like the press in England, talking about the English team. What's like the press reaction in Sweden to the Swedish performance? Is it similar to what you said in that the hype's gone and they're just angry about it, or?
Well, 15 minutes after the final whistle, probably our best sporting journalist, he had wrote a piece of like 600 words, how he despised that performance, and it was probably the worst thing you've ever seen. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And a lot of people agree with him.
Do you think there's better... Sorry, do you think there's better things to come then? Or do you think this is just a one-off, or do you think this could be how you play this entire tournament now?
This is how we played for pretty much since Hamren took over in 2009. And
what, that badly?
The same like style of football.
Oh right, okay.
And that's why I was so optimistic in front of this tournament, because we looked like we had developed a new style of play and actually could like create a few more like chances with Emil Forsberg, who was absolutely horrible that game, down the wing with his pace and creativity. But we looked like the same old Swedish national team who rely on Zlatan to do something magical to win, and that's not how it should be.
Well, like Michael said, talking about if Ireland play like this against Belgium, I mean, they probably will win, because apparently Belgium cannot score goals.
Yeah.
It's like reverse. It's like the ball and the goal are reverse ends of magnets. How they didn't score in that game, I have no idea. But I think this game's a very interesting one, and one we can talk about quite a lot, because I don't know whether this is a great Italy performance or it's a bad Belgium performance. I mean, it's probably a bit of both.
It is definitely a bit of both. I was impressed by the organised Italian team and the defence, and especially Bonucci. What a passing foot he's got.
That ball.
Oh my god. It wasn't only that ball though, like he was spreading balls and just creating everything, pretty much everything that Italy was doing in the Belgium's box. And if it wasn't for a few great Courtois saves, this could have been like at least 4-5-0.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, the ball for the goal, though. I mean, if it's an inch lower, Alderweireld gets a touch, goes out for a corner. If it's an inch higher, I don't think Giaccherini controls it. Giaccherini, however you pronounce it. But I thought his touch as well and finish ruthless.
His touch is ridiculous as well. Like, with that pace of that ball, it just takes it down completely, like, perfectly, and just slots it in. It's impressive.
I don't think he's particularly known for his technical ability. I think probably if you give him 10 of those, maybe 3, 4, or 5 of those just get away from him. But yeah, he took his goal really well, and I was actually very impressed with him. I've liked him since he's been at Sunderland. I'm surprised he didn't get more playing time at Sunderland. He may even still be there. I'm not actually 100%
Bologna.
sure. Ah, okay. But yeah, I think he is such a workhorse in that midfield. He's like a fly. He's always buzzing around. Like he's small and he's just everywhere. And yeah, I really like him, and I think he was very important to that performance.
Yeah, I was impressed by the Italian midfield because I had no expectations at all with Parolo, him, and De Rossi starting. I thought that midfield was looking really weak, and I think I said that like in the previous episodes as well. Italy's midfield is probably the worst they've had in probably like 20 years. Like, they haven't got those amazing players like Pirlo and Marchisio anymore. Like, Pirlo didn't get picked and
Marchisio's injured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they, like, on paper, that midfield should get beaten. Definitely beaten by Axel Witsel, Fellaini, and Nainggolan. But they didn't. Like, they stood up and dominated that midfield.
De Rossi continues to be arguably the best holding midfielder in the world. Darmian, I thought, down that left-hand side did very well as well. Same with Candreva. But that back three of Chiellini, Bonucci, and Barzagli.
It's so solid.
A Buffon, I suppose you could include in that as well. I mean, yeah, very, very good. The chances Belgium did create, though, with Lukaku and Origi when he came on, it's so wasteful. So wasteful.
Yeah.
And if they can't score goals at this tournament, they don't deserve to go through this group.
Yeah, I personally learned so much from this game, and like how the team's strengths and weaknesses. Italy played so well as a team, and I think Conte said in his post-match interview that they were a team in that game, and they're the oldest ever team to go to the Euros. At the average age, like 31, and like they played like they kind of played like they were experienced in playing together. They played like a proper team, but Belgium not scoring. Another key fact that Belgium at the tournament so far have the highest shots on target to shots off target ratio at 6-1. So if it's every 6 shots off target, they only hit 1 on target.
Yeah, and I can only point out 2 positives in that game. Well, 2 or 3 positives. It depends how you look at it. And one is being the right back Seaman. He looked decent going forwards, and actually, like I think he's quite old as well. But he wasn't an expected starter from my side. I thought Jordan Lukaku would get a chance at left back, but. Yeah, he looked pretty decent, and also a player that looked like he could create something. He got a few great shots off was Hazard, who still tries to find his form from last year, but is looking far off still. But it's looking up, definitely. And the third one it's 50-50. I thought Courtois had a decent game. You can't really blame him for any of the goals.
The 2 goals that went in, especially the second, that volley from Pella. He caught that well. I do love a well-caught volley. Oh, my goodness me. But yeah, I thought, Belgium, I think, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, Nainggolan had a couple of long shots. Lukaku obviously had chances. Origi had chances. But even though they had these chances, they didn't look like scoring, and I think that is a big issue. I don't know about you personally. I think after that, I think you have to drop Lukaku for Origi. Personally, I think Lukaku, he's very much a form player, and I think he needs a few games to get into form, and then he'll have a spree, and then he'll stop scoring for like 5, 6, 7 games, then he'll go back to scoring again. The problem with this tournament is it's 7 games long if you win it. So I don't think there's enough games in this tournament for him to hit form, and I think it's a very big risk to keep playing him. I think you can bring him on off the bench. I thought Mertens looked good when he came on, added something.
I thought he lost the ball a lot. Personally.
Did you? I thought Hazard lost the ball a lot, to be honest. But I mean, I don't know. Belgium very disappointed indeed. Yeah, I mean, what are our thoughts still the same on this group? Who do we think's getting out of it now? Because it's completely different. If you'd asked us 2 days ago,
but that was
group, we all agreed.
That was
well to a point.
Even the Italy manager said it's the worst time ever for our football. So I don't think anybody can blame anyone for making the assumption that Italy weren't going to turn up particularly. But this group, like Belgium, could really have a big problem now. I know I tipped Belgium to win the group. I think, did you say Sweden, Phil?
I said Sweden.
So
still possible.
So yeah, but Belgium really could have a massive problem. They haven't kept a clean sheet for 8 games, and if they can't score, it's just a recipe for disaster. And so that could completely change the group. And if Italy can play like they did play so they played so well together as a team and played such good football, they could do really well. But Belgium, you still got to remember, Belgium did still create a lot of chances against one of Italy's best defensive performance, you could argue, for a while. So I don't. Yeah. This group it's so difficult to judge now. So difficult.
Italy, they sat back, but they weren't boring to watch at all.
No.
I think it's going to be interesting though, the Belgium lineup for the next game. I mean,
yeah, it's going to be
I know what people say about Fellaini. I'd actually quite like him, and I wouldn't actually mind seeing Fellaini up front with De Bruyne behind, and then play Carrasco on the right, just to add a bit more penetration there. Because De Bruyne, I think in my opinion, is obviously a lot better in the central positions, and I think Carrasco on the right with Hazard on the left, with that penetration on those wings, are going to cause teams problems, especially teams like Republic of Ireland, who they've got next. Coleman didn't particularly have a very good game there, so maybe him and Hazard's going to help Belgium create more chances. And yeah, it's going to be a very interesting next round of games, especially in this group.
So Fellaini, I agree with you on the point that you made about him, and that he needs to be included in the team because, I forgot what I said. Oh yeah.
It's frustrating to watch.
Yeah, so I agree with you what you said about Fellaini being in the team and how important he is, because while he is so frustrating to watch and he sometimes misses opportunities or doesn't quite get himself in the position he should do, he is such a problem and such an unorthodox player to deal with his height and strength, that it just brings something else. And it even works at a club level for him, and that he just pop up with these goals just because of like the pure difficulty people have dealing with him. I'm not sure about Lukaku not starting. I completely agree with you in the point that he needs a run into a tournament almost to hold his form. But I think Origi has a much better impact off the bench than he does starting.
Well, I wouldn't have started Origi either.
Oh right, okay, I see.
It's like Carrasco.
Okay,
but I just feel bad for Lukaku when I see him in this form. I just feel really bad for him.
Yeah,
he's still a young player. Like he's
I think that's one of the reasons he can't find consistency, and perhaps later in his career he will. But I think that young immaturity almost is a problem for him, possibly. Obviously, I don't know him, so yeah. So we're all done for our roundup. Just after this recording, there's going to be 2 games. I think it's Austria, Hungary, and Portugal. Iceland.
Yes.
Predictions?
Ooh, Austria win 3-0. Portugal, Iceland, I'll say 1-1.
Michael?
I think Austria will win. I think it'll be a lot tighter than I'm hoping for. I really want Austria. I have quite high hopes for Austria. I think, but I still think it'll be a tight game. I still think Hungary will defend quite well, and I think it'll be tight like a lot of the games of the Euros have been. So I'm going to go for... I think Austria will keep a clean sheet. I'm going to go for 2-0 Austria. I still maybe think it could be 1-0, but I'm going to go for 2-0. And I think it'll be 1-0 Portugal against Iceland.
I'm going to go Austria. I'm going to go 1-0. Mark Janko with a header. And I think for the Portugal game, I think we're due a drubbing. We haven't had one in this first round of games, so I'm going to say Portugal 7, Iceland 1.
Jesus.
That is a...
Uh,
yeah, that's a bold prediction.
Definitely.
But we are due a big high-scoring game, like you said, so, yeah.
They're going to win it, so it doesn't matter. Right. So, gentlemen, this is actually quite a short episode, actually. We've done quite well, wrapping this up quite quickly.
Good.
We have a little game. I've devised another little game. Obviously, Elias won the last one.
Yeah.
You've got to let me know, should I stay or should I go? This one, I've had to change the name due to copyright.
Oh, no.
So it's going to be called It's Not That Easy, having a name that sounds cheesy. So, I have, as this is held in France, this tournament, I have found a list of French cheeses
Oh my.
from our friends at Wikipedia.
Oh,
And I'm going to tell you some French cheeses and some players who are at the Euros, and you have to tell me if they're a footballer or a cheese.
oh my god.
I just mention, is it going to be me against Elias again? Because
It's you against Elias again.
because it is
Always.
Elias's birthday, and I know he won the first one, but I'd feel bad beating him today.
No,
Oh,
no.
fighting talk. What do you think, Elias?
No, I just.
Do you want to just
feel-
give him the win? Do you want to just give him the win?
How? No. No, I want to fight for this.
As these are French cheeses, and not all the players are French, I'm going to have to do some sort of French accent.
Oh my.
So if
Oh.
anyone is French, and I have attempted this, and it's really bad, it comes out Italian, but if anyone is offended, I apologise wholeheartedly. Right, I think we're going to start. I think Michael started last week, so I think we're going to start with Elias.
And it's his birthday.
And it's his birthday. Happy birthday. We can't sing that. Copyright.
Copy.
And, right, so Elias, you're going to go first, yeah?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Elias's first one is Comte.
Comte. Like COMT.
I'm not telling you the spelling.
This is hard, man. You could be
Oh,
like,
even if they're from, like, Ukraine, I'm going to give you a French accent.
oh my god, this is gonna be hard. Comte. That sounds like a player, but I'm gonna say it's a cheese.
It's a cheese!
Yes!
Oh, I was going to say player, so I'll rate that. Good job.
Michael.
Oh, no.
Weerblom.
Excuse me?
Weerblom.
I think the pronunciation's awful, but I'm pretty sure that's a player.
It's a player! It's the Swedish... I've got to do... No, I've got to get the pronunciation wrong, because if I pronounce him as a footballer, you're going to get it right, aren't you?
I'm pretty sure you just sort of went...
I
That's-
sounded like a soundbite from a YouTube
Do,
video.
do you want to hear how it's actually pronounced, Michael?
I know how it's
please.
pronounced. It's Vernblom.
No, it's not. It's Pontus Wernerblom.
So
You're
they...
correct. You know what, Elias? I'm taking a point away for that.
No,
Yes!
Right.
Come on.
Okay, next one. Rotan. This is the worst French accent. It's not even French.
It sounds like Japanese.
What even is it?
This is horrible.
It's just words.
What-
You're going to have to
just
speak
words.
up, because you're also going
Do you want me
quiet.
to just say it in a straight up English accent?
Just
a proper
an
accent?
ignorant English
Do you
accent.
want me to just... Rotan.
Roten?
Rotan.
That's a cheese.
No, it's the Ukrainian striker who plays for Dnipro, Ruslan Rotan. Or
What?
Rotan. I'm doing it in the English. I can't read it how it's pronounced.
No, I
Because you
think
get it.
that's a fair point. Carry on.
Michael.
Michael, yours. Lanetti.
Sounds like a player, but I don't think it is. Can I have the word again, please?
No,
Yes.
Lanetti.
In a sentence?
This is a cheese or a player. Lanetti.
And the definition, please.
Possible cheese or player.
I'm gonna go cheese.
It's a player.
Oh,
It's Karol Lanetti of Poland, who plays for Lech Poznan and sat on the bench against Northern Ireland.
Damn,
It's 1-1.
Should have gone remain
What a
instinct.
great game. I'm great at games.
Oh my god.
Elias.
Yeah.
Liver rot.
What? That's a cheese.
It's a cheese. I think it's Livaro.
Oh, yeah, I'll say-
obviously,
I
I
think it's
can't say
Livaro,
it in the. I can't say it in the French.
Liver rot.
I'm just saying ignorant Englishman. Michael.
Oh no, precious.
Mally.
Mally. Oh, See, this is such a good game.
Q.
Mali.
Molly.
I'm gonna go. Oh, with regret. I'm gonna go player.
It's a player!
Yes.
The Bundesliga expert has got the Mainz attacking midfielder Yunus Mali. Correct. I thought you would have known that one.
So I should have done, to be honest.
Guilherme, Elias. Remember,
That's a player.
as a player, but he has to be at the Euros.
But what?
Okay, yeah, you're right. It's because I swear I swear he's Brazilian, but he plays for Russia apparently. He's a Russian goalkeeper
Hasn't he?
on the bench.
Yeah.
Hasn't he played there for a lot of years? I'm assuming.
He's played for who's he played for? I wrote it down here. Lokomotiv Moscow.
Yeah.
So he's obviously got sit downship. Citizenship.
I genuinely
Okay,
spat
Michael.
water everywhere at your pronunciation there, Phil. So
Yeah, I'm meant to be doing it badly.
no, I get it, but it's just impressively badly.
Navota.
Wait, what's the score?
It's 3-2 to Elias at the moment. If you get this, you equalise.
Can I have the word again, please?
Navota.
Cheese.
It's the Slovakian
Oh,
goalkeeper who
no.
plays for Rapid Vienna. Oh,
no.
you're bad.
Have I got a
Well,
chance
it's
to
3-2.
equal?
Elias,
Yeah,
if he gets this
you
right,
can win.
he wins.
Oh my god. Give me a player.
Chevrotin.
Wait, what? That's a
Chevrotin.
cheese.
It's a cheese!
It is a cheese!
Oh,
And
the birthday boy wins!
Happy birthday.
I could play some recording.
No. If
Damn,
any musical instruments do want to
2-0.
sponsor us, feel free to. Yeah, 2-0 to the birthday boy.
Yes.
Do you want to hear the other ones I had?
Yeah.
Roque Fort was the next one.
That's a cheese.
It's a cheese.
I feel that
We have
Elias
Casse.
is.
What did you say?
Casse or
No.
Case.
Is he C-A-S-E?
It's K-E-C-E. K-A-C.
I'm gonna go player. I don't know.
Not sure.
Yeah, it's the Albanian CDM. Plays for PAOK Salonika or PAOK Salonika. And Bufut is the last one.
That's an Italian player, but I think it's cheese as well.
It's a
No,
French
it's
cheese.
French player, I mean. Yeah.
Well, he's not at the Euros,
Yeah.
so
that's
over 2-0. I am great. Hopefully none of those cheeses are copyrighted. With my pronunciation, I doubt it. So
Yeah, I feel that Elias had a massive advantage in his culture knowledge there. I really was lacking, and football knowledge, of course, didn't help.
but England is closer to France.
Yeah, we hate
Yeah, no, you're right.
So cheese. Wow.
Right.
I'm not
Good
sure how
game.
we're
Good
gonna
game
recover
though,
from-
Phil.
How are we going to top this? How are we going to top this game? I'll tell you how next time on the podcast. Make sure you subscribe, listeners, on iTunes and YouTube. Links will be in the description for each of those. Please rate and all that jazz. We got a Twitter at the In The Mixer Show. If you've got any questions or you want to talk to me, Elias, or Michael, we've got an email address, inthemixerpodcast@gmail.com. And I wasn't planning to end this podcast, but I feel like I've got in the zone to do it. So, do you want to just end it, gentlemen?
End it.
Yes.
End it.
Yeah, let's end
Okay.
it.
It's been a fantastic little run of groups. We're off to watch some Austrian and Hungarian football games of sport. We will see you next time. Say goodbye, Michael.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Say goodbye, depressed Swedishman.
What? Oh, yeah, bye.
He won. He won.
Due to the result. Oh, you won the game. Oh, that makes up for it. Elias
More
wins
than
the
makes up
Euros.
for it. It's more
And
And
important.
from me, you beautiful ladies
And
and you
gentlemen.
handsome gentlemen, I will see you soon. Goodbye.